So you can probably see that I'm testing out a new camera rig, and I'm hoping that it's gonna really change things up. So out of all the doors here, wow. Oh. So just sitting around, this had gotten dirty. I thought I had to repaint it, but it's looking good. With airbrushing comes masking, and with masking comes a lot of different tapes. From standard masking painter's tape, whether blue, green, or whatever, all the way down to fine artist paint that goes down to a few millimeters up to a few 16ths or a 32nd or a 1/4 inch. All of it is definitely useful. This stuff is from the company called Pactra. It's maybe $6 or $7 for a roll. These rolls are slightly used. This is some masking tape I found at an art store. I don't remember the brand name, but it was half the price, and it's been just as good. We also have some painting masks for these, so we'll be looking at those as well. From PGMS, Paragraphics Modeling. I want to give most of these away, so I'm only going to use one door, and I'll probably use the door that is the least visible, which I am going to say is the one that goes there. And I may also demonstrate one of these masks on one of those wall parts. Let's take a look at masking tape first. One technique that I've found that works pretty well is, well, first of all, no matter what, you need a sharp X-Acto blade. Just using a standard number 11 blade here, but probably any will work. There are no painting masks for these doors, so let's work with one of these first. It's also the smallest and the most difficult to do at least half the size. And what I think I'm going to do here, let's see if this idea will actually work. Let's just take a regular piece of blue masking tape, lay it down over the entire thing, and what we're going to do is use the shape underneath to cut the lines. I've got this flathead mini screwdriver here to help me out and kind of burnish the tape into place, basically. Because if any of these edges are loose, your paint is going to leak. And in this case, the tape that we're keeping is the tape that's going to be over these really small ridges, the raised details of the door piece. Unfortunately, when you're doing masking, the only way you really know how good a masking job you did is to paint and lift the tape off and see what the results are. One builder I saw, rather than going with the color codes, just took a silver Sharpie and ran it over the top of these edges, which looked really good. It's not accurate, but it is the easiest way to do this. And what the heck, I may as well cover doing that as well. So this tape is going down pretty good so far, until just then when I ripped it. The tip of the screwdriver isn't particularly sharp, but it's definitely sharp enough to rip through this tape, unfortunately. And we'll get here is this other piece to act as a reference, so I can see where the lines are. There is a bit of flex in this little bit of piece, which kind of surprises me. So having burnished that all down, let's take our awful sharp X-Acto and as gently as possible slice along these edges. Cut too sharp and too deep and you're going to be into the plastic, and that will show. The more pressure you put on the blade, the more likely it is to slip around, which is another bad deal. And to make things just a little more difficult, all of these corners on the door here are rounded. On such a small piece, this shouldn't be too obvious though in the final paint, but we'll see about that. And again, we'll only see about that once the tape has been lifted and the painting is hopefully done. This window is the easiest part of all. Really didn't need to cut that out. Another way this could be done is with an artist's medium called Frisket, which is basically either a tape similar to this, which doesn't have any tack to it, or it also comes in a liquid form so you can brush it on. Even though this paint has been sitting for several days, it just pulled up some color, which is very unfortunate. And it just did it all over that as well. But I should have left that piece on, actually, now that I'm looking at it. And what I want to pull off is the raised details, not the lower. One thing you definitely don't want to do is pull arbitrarily. Keep it gentle. Go slow. I chose these small doors because I figured it would be more difficult, and a good lesson for moving on to the bigger doors. So having done the more difficult, hopefully those bigger ones will be much easier. We'll see about that. While we're at it, I'll also mention that the TSDS decal sheets do have these small doors all pre-done for you. All you got to do is cut that out and stick it down. I don't particularly want to use decals on mine. I'd rather do paint. However, just to show these off, I will do one door, and you can see how good they look. So the results of standard blue tape pulled up a lot of other paint, which is not cool. Let's put that to the side. And now we'll pull out some of this artist's masking tape. Now obviously this is too small itself to cover the whole thing in one go. I'll be laying this down in strips. And unfortunately this just pulled up a little bit of paint too. Let's take just a little bit of this hobby masking tape. I think this is the brand called Pactra. And let's put a slice of this down here. And it too just pulled up a lot of paint. So that means a lot of this is going to have to be repainted. So even after masking, it's going to be kind of tough. Let's try this green tape here, which has a very low tack. Let's get a different door. There we are. And a fresh piece of tape. Oh yeah. So that's very regrettable that this is happening here. The solution? These pieces have to be repainted, obviously. What I think I'll do is, once I repaint these, let them cure, I'll seal them down in some clear matte. In fact, I'll do that to these pieces tonight, because these are still in good shape. So I don't know if this is an issue with the paint adhesion behind the primer and the top coat. These are all enamels, so it shouldn't be an issue as far as the chemical interaction between them all. And the pulling up did not occur on any of these. In the case of these parts, I did use this tape. Now this piece has had at least as long to cure as those other ones. Let's see if we get similar results.